welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percitas Paradox. Thank you so much for joining me today. I greatly appreciate you, your time, and effort in joining me on the channel. If you are new, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you, your time, and effort. And of course, if you're an OG, you know the rules. Thank you so much for joining me, as always, continuing to support. During this Christmas holiday season, being that this is the last week, right, before you have to get up and go shopping or figure out how to ship stuff and do all of that lovely idea of what Christmas is about, because typically we think about giving during this time of the year. I wanted to just come on board, give you a little word of encouragement to make sure that you know that even if you don't have someone to necessarily celebrate with, or your family is not readily available and you have to celebrate alone, do know that people like myself are thinking about you, and we are well aware of what this season could bring in regards to that. We so often talk about, family and getting together and the fellowship thereof during this time of the season, but we tend to forget about the people who have trauma or some type of PTSD during this time of the year. Maybe something tragic happened, maybe someone passed away. I just wanted to extend my love and support and make sure that you know that someone is really thinking about you during this time. So I wanted to talk today about just what that means in regards to having empathy and sympathy during this time of the season, and really being aware of people and their needs and where their mindset is. I read a meme probably a couple of days ago, and it was an interesting meme because I'd never thought about it in this manner, but the meme simply said, December is not Decembering like it normally Decembers. And what made me laugh about that is that I honestly thought it was just me. Something about this year just did not come around as it normally would. A lot of individuals that I know personally aren't putting up Christmas trees, and they're not really feeling like they're in a celebratory position. And I don't really think I could say it's a place of necessary negativity, so to speak, right? It's more of a premise of just, it doesn't feel quite as festive as it normally would. I noticed the retail stores are going out of their way to make sure that you're shopping, of course, spending your money with them. But there's something about the temperament, something about the energy that is just not really there, right? So I wanted to really pose the question on, how are you truly feeling during this time, this year? I know what you're comparing it to. I understand that idea of what I just said, that things are just not normal. But truthfully and wholeheartedly, are you faking it? Are you finding yourself going through the motions just because you feel like you're obligated? Just because you feel as if it's something that you have to do? I say that because if I tie in what I'm talking about in regards to the individuals that we tend to not really think about a lot, who are really not into celebrating Christmas on, any given December, before the COVID, before, all of the differences that are happening in the world, do you now find yourself understanding and being more empathetic and sympathetic to that because of maybe some losses that you might have sustained this year, or just the idea of there's just that uncertainty that seems to be lingering? And I feel as if this is the time for us to take note of what that is and really find ourselves trying to be more compassionate to people who feel like this all the time, who are aware of these types of emotions all the time. And I say that because for myself personally, I'd never really thought about it. I've said it in passing, I've discussed it in small doses, but I never really stopped to think about what it really is to be in a non-loving, compassionate place during the holiday season. Because to be honest, I'd never really experienced anything negative that would have caused me to mentally not be attached. This year, I really find myself being able to not only understand and comprehend, but really find myself being, like I said, more sympathetic and empathetic. And if you don't know the difference, I really want you to look those up, because I could go into a long genre of what the difference between empathy and sympathy is. But you really want to know there is a strong differential between the two. One, you're really trying to engage in the actual feeling from the other person's perspective. And the other is you just basically understanding it as loosely as you possibly can. And you feel it, but you don't really relate. So you're not really there. I'm feeling a horrible combination of both. And I say that because I even notice people's children aren't asking for gifts. Like I said, people who aren't putting up Christmas trees, their children, if they have children, they're not asking for it. It's just something about a place of just being in a space of gratitude and a space of thankfulness that you just basically have made it through this year. I don't know about you, but everything that I did, everything that I touched, everything that I tried to work on or do just really was different. Not always good or bad, just straight different. And that difference made it that much more complicated to deal with. My energy level was off. My connection, I felt like, was really off. It just felt like everything was extremely personal this year. It still feels extremely personal. And it's just something that I just don't think people are touching on. Maybe you feel like you're going through it by yourself. Maybe you don't really feel like you want to discuss it, or the people that you have discussed it with took it so personal that it's kind of tainted the relationship. So many things have happened with so many different people this year that I just, again, wanted to touch on the idea that we have to communicate, and we want to make sure that we are in a space of loving first and being as authentic as you can during that time, meaning you're approaching people within yourself and what love you have to give, which means you have to absolutely deposit something within yourself before you can give it. But you also want to be just conscious of others, right? And not in the sense of others in just need, but in others, or I should say in just need of something more tangible, financial. Absolutely be conscious of that. But there's so many of us who have, the tangible things, and we're still not in the space of really feeling the love and support and connection that you want to feel, especially during this time of the year. Every year, I've been doing this now 3.5 years, and every year I discuss the mental health aspects of what the holiday season brings about. Again, just under normal circumstances, not even implementing the idea that COVID and the pandemic has been going on for close to 2 years, but just the auspices of people already suffer. Again, like I said, during this holiday season, normally. So we really want to be conscious, because I feel like even if you haven't had anyone who's passed away from COVID or who actually contracted the disease, you want to be conscious of all the people who you do know that happened to, and the manifestations of what that is outside of just their normal anxiety and stresses of what the world brings forth. So many people still aren't working. So many people are in a space of still trying to figure out what they're going to do with the next year, even with all of the financial and emotional help that they've gotten. It just doesn't seem to be enough. And for me this year, I just wanted to stop and send my love out to anyone who's experiencing that. Know that you're not alone. There are absolutely people like myself who are praying and doing whatever we can to assist you wherever you can. All that I would say going forward is that you try your best to communicate with people around you, and you express yourself as best you can, because you don't want to be in a space of trying to implode within or trying to be stronger than you need to be. Hopefully everyone can find some sense of support system. But like I said, there are people who do not have family or friends that they feel like they can lean on, or who also are in the same boat and can't really do anything for them. So this holiday season, the question is how are you really feeling? And what you're doing is so important for you to understand. To express yourself and to be where you are is important, be it able to help or not able to help. Being willing and able is something that you want to always try to be in a space of. To be willing and not able, it happens. To be able and not willing does not happen. That's a personal choice. And I'm hoping that is not a choice that you make again, especially during this holiday. So know that in all of that, there's always going to be this idea of me telling you to do everything deliberate and intentional, and always lead with love. But before you can do any of that, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Live life authentic. Show and express your love to the people that you love and care for. Give them the time when you don't have the tangible things or the money that you feel like you should have. Just share all of you in the best manner that you have, and the best approach that you have for the people that you care and love about. So that's it. You know how I feel about this holiday season. I absolutely still try to love it, but I want you to know that I am here for you no matter what. As always, do your best to be the best you can be, and go on with your day and have it in a blessed way. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are here this far, remember to do the like, share, comment, and subscribing. I keep saying, if you've been listening to me this far and you are at the end of this video as you are, and you have not subscribed, be empathetic and sympathetic to me and hit that subscribe button. Thank you as always. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.